INC, no? Shoutout nga pala dyan sa mga nandyan ngayon sa EDSA, nagtipon-tipon kayo. Heto po yung mensahe ng Brave 18 sa inyo. Makinig po kayo, ha?
Ako po si Rosbert Opan. Magandang gabi po sa lahat ng Pilipinong hanggang ngayon umaasa pa rin sa transparency, accountability at justice para po sa malawakang korupsyon sa ating bansa. Hinahamon ko po ang Senado na muli niyo pong buksan.
Hinahamon kayong mga senador na muling buksan yung flood control anomaly. Hindi nyo kaya? Ayan o, hinahamon na kayo o.
Ang investigasyon sa flood control at sasagutin namin lahat ng deliveries po sa inyo. Nagpapasalamat din po ako sa lahat ng Pilipinong sumusuporta sa katotohanan at lalong-lalo na po sa pagtitipon ng Iglesia ni Cristo. Mahalin po natin ang nag-iisa nating bayan. At muntik ko na pong makalimutan, Sir Matipag, Sir, huwag po kayong marites sa Brave 18. Dapat po ang iniimbestigahan ninyo yung korupsyon
Correct.
sa Pilipinas. Thank you po. Ako po si Rose.
May birit pa siya kay Matibag eh, di ba? Matibag, sir! Huwag kayong marites, sir! Palakpakan, guys, palakpakan. In behalf of the Donmar TV, nagpapasalamat po kami mga Brave 18, saludong-saludo po kami sa inyo, sa inyong katapangan at sa inyong honesty po. Maraming salamat. Continue to do that and para sa taong bayan, no? Continue to do that para sa taong bayan. Patuloy lang at there will come a time, there will be a day of reckoning. Yan ang sabi ni Tatay Digong. So heto. Unahin na natin itong mensahe ni Vice President Inday Sara Duterte. Ito po yung statement ni VP Sara. Okay? Yan. Dahil sa pagtipon-tipon ng mga INC, nagsalita na rin itong si VP Sara. Inday Sara Duterte. Statement June 30, 2026. Ang sabi ni VP Sara, "The people gathered in EDSA today reflect a growing sentiment that I have consistently expressed since 2024. Dati na niya itong sinasabi, yung mga pangyayaring ito. This administration has been defined by poor governance and its failure to acknowledge and address the country's real problems, while countless of our kababayans struggle with rising prices, job insecurity, and the increasing cost of daily life. The President has remained detached from the hardships confronting Filipinos." Ibig sabihin ni VP Sara, sa mga gulo na nangyari ngayon at sa mga rally na nagsisigaw ng taong bayan, it reflects on BBM's weak leadership. Okay? Instead of confronting these challenges with solutions, the administration has chosen to silence dissent under the guise of accountability. It has weaponized the justice system by filing cases against the imprisoning individuals who dare speak out against alleged corruption and abuses in Malacanang, question the administration's competence, or criticize the president, including allegations concerning his drug use. Such actions raise serious concerns about the state of free expression, democratic accountability, and the shrinking space for legitimate political dissent. Ibig sabihin, instead na makikinig itong si Bongbong Marcos sa mga hinanaing ng taong bayan, kundi yung iba, kinasuhan pa. Kagaya ni Marcoleta, kagaya ng ni Jinggoy Estrada. Okay? Tapos, sa issue pa niya dito sa paggamit ng droga, which is ang mismo na ang ate ang nagsabi niyan, ay dapat yan linawin niya kung totoo ba yan na gumagamit siya. Kasi kung totoo na gumagamit siya ayon sa kanyang kapatid, ay hindi po siya karapat-dapat na maging presidente. Ganun lang kasimple. Okay? Sabi pa dito ni VP Sara, "The President's failure of character and leadership have fostered an increasingly oppressive political environment. A government that answers criticism with intimidation undermines the very democratic institutions it is sworn to protect." Kasi itong problema ng administrasyong ito, kaya bumababa ang kanilang tax rating. Kasi kung merong magkri-criticize sa kanila, mai-intimidate sila, magagalit sila. Instead na pakikinggan nila yung mga nagrereklamo, nagagalit sila. Kaya bumababa ang kanilang trust rating dahil dyan kay Auntie Claire Castro. Yan ang pinakaunang reason. Ano pang sabi ni VP Sara? "This is no longer a matter of politics." Hindi na po ito usaping politika. It is a matter of the honor of the state and the future of a Filipino who continue to bear the weight of economic hardship while their voices are increasingly met with repression. Syukran. Yan ang sabi ni VP Sara. Ibig sabihin, hindi na po ito patungkol sa pamumulitika. Tungkol na po ito sa taong bayan na hirap na sa liderato ni Bongbong Marcos. Tungkol po ito sa ating future ng ating bansa, future ng ating taong bayan. Okay? Tungkol po ito sa kung gaano na hirap ng ating bayan. At yan sana ang tugunan ng gobyernong ito, pero wala. Nag-i-increase lang ang gulo dito sa ating bansa dahil dito sa bangag na administration nito. Yan po ang sabi ni Vice President Inday Sara Duterte, the Vice President of the Philippines. Ayan, maraming salamat po, Ma'am Sara. Every time na nagpapalabas ka po ng mensahe sa taong bayan ay parang gumagaan po ang loob ng mga Pilipino. Ayan, palakpakan kay Ma'am Sara. Dito naman, at dahil dyan, hindi rin nagpapaawat itong si Senator Amy Marcos. Talagang pumunta siya doon sa INC at nagalit talaga. Ito po, papanoorin natin itong si Manang Amy.
Mga kapatid, mga kababayan, mga kapwa Pilipino. Pilit akong humabol kasi hindi ko kayang hindi kayo samahan para isigaw sa buong mundo, we are one! We are one! We are one! Talaga naman, walang umuuwi, walang natutunaw sa ulan na pinadala ng langit. Walang uwian ito. Kasuklam-suklam ang gobyernong manhid at walang pakialam sa hirap ng ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda, mga sektor na nagpapakain sa atin na halos walang makain, gutom ang mga pamilya. Wala silang pakialam. Gobyernong tulog, lasing sa kapangyarihan. Sadyang pipiliin pa bumiyahe, makihalubilo sa Canada, sa mga dayuhan sa Amerika, habang ang Pilipino ay nagdurusa sa gasulinang hindi abot kaya, pagkain ginintuan at napakahirap na buhay. Wala silang pakialam. Pagkat itong
Totoo naman eh. Very clear yung mensahe ni Manang Amy. Wala silang pakialam. Wala talagang pakialam. Kasi kung may pakialam sila, dapat makinig sila sa kung ano yung sinasabi ng taong bayan.
gobyerno ay bangag! Walang malay! Nagkukunwaring hindi nakikita ang 10 ton na ebidensya!
Galit talaga si Manang Amy. Sabi niya, ang gobyernong ito ay bangag. Na hindi pa ba kayo magising niyan, mga loyalista? Mga dilawan? Mga pinklawan? Hindi pa ba kayo gising niyan? Bangag. Gumagamit. Yan ang sabi ni Manang Amy. Kapatid na yan. Alam nila na gumagamit ang kanyang kapatid.
Ang dose-dose ng testigo! Ang 18 higit pang mga Marines!
Alam niyo, sa totoo lang, grabe itong ginawa ni Manang Amy. Imagine mo, kaya mong sabihin yan sa sarili mong kapatid, di ba? Sarili mong kapatid. Pero wala siyang ibang choice kundi gagawin yan to help his kapatid, yung brother, BBM.
Itong baha at flood control na lulunod sa atin lahat. Wala silang pakialam. Kaya marami po sa inyo naging kasama ko nung ating kabataan. At ang suot natin ay itong t-shirt. Ang sigaw natin noon pa, makialam! Makialam na po tayo! Makialam para sa kabataan, makialam para sa kinabukasan, makialam para maibalik ang katotohanan sa ating lipi. Panahon na maibalik ang katarungan.
Tama naman si Manang Amy. Dapat tayo makialam. No? Kung mayaman ka man, kung mahirap ka, mayaman ka man, dapat tayo makialam na ngayon. Ngayon ha. Kasi, di na ba kayo naaawa sa bansa natin? Di ba kung kailangan natin magtipon-tipon, kung kailangan na nating mag-people power, o kung gagawin natin yan, gawin na natin yan. Kasi parang hindi na po tayo satisfied sa governance. Hindi na po tayo satisfied sa gobyerno. Tama nga yung sinabi ni Tatay Digong noon na yan si BBM na yan. Ano yan? Hindi na yan mag-step down. Hindi na yan mag-step down. Kaya itong si Manang Amy, she is very sad kasi ang gusto lang naman niya, maibalik yung pangalan nila na nasira nung panahon ng kanyang tatay. Ngayon, mas lalong nasira. Kaya, I feel you, Manang Amy.
Ang ang hustisya na hindi buktot at pinabaluktot ang batas at saligang batas. Katarungan na pantay-pantay sa mahirap at mayaman. Katarungan na walang sino-sino, na walang pinipili na kaalyado o kalaban daw. Katarungan na naiiba ngayon para sa senador at sa mga pinsang buo. Katarungan para sa lahat ng Pilipino. We are one! We are one! We are one! We are one! Mabuhay ang ating mga kapatid! Mabuhay ang Pilipino! Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat.
Ayan, maano lang ha, very short lang yung message ni Manang Aimee. Isa doon sa mga napulot natin na tayo na po ay lumabas at makialam na tayo. Okay? Simple lang yung message. Makialam na tayo. Mayaman ka man o mahirap ka man, this is about the future of the Philippines. Okay? Ito, pang pag-good vibes muna ha, bago kay Attorney Delgra, bago itong update kay Tatay Digong, no? Ito, pang pag-good vibes. Hindi ko alam, marunong palang sumayaw itong si Paulo Marcoleta. Ito po, panoorin ninyo. Walang music lang kasi makapiright tayo. Ayan. Hindi yan AI ha. Talagang si ano yan. Congressman Paulo Marcoleta, ang anak ni Senador Marcoleta. Ayan, anak ni Senador Marcoleta. Ayan oh, marunong sumayaw oh. Ayan. Nagma-Michael Jackson pala yan oh. Ten 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 ten. Ayan, Michael Jackson. Ten ten na 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 na. Ayan. Di ba? Pampag-good vibes muna bago natin. Ito na. Attorney Martin Delgra, ito po, panoorin po natin itong kanyang interview. Update po kay Tatay Digong. Ayan, play natin.
Beside former President Duterte through political triumphs and his greatest legal challenge.
Joining us is one of the lawyers who was there when the former president was brought to The Hague last year, Attorney Martin Delgra. Delgra. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the Post.
Good morning,
Yeah,
Lily, and,
pleasure to
thank
have you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. I hear it's not that easy to get you on.
Yeah,
on
galing
Because I'm
kami
busy
ng
now.
Davao. Opo,
I
yeah.
rarely come to Manila for this.
Wow,
Yeah,
we
thank you so much. We appreciate that, no?
Yeah, thank
Mabuti
you.
po.
Could you tell us, Attorney Martin, how did you become close to PRD? Were you classmates?
Hindi po, talagang mas matanda yan siya. Alam mo, 82 years
checking.
old na siya ngayon. I may be senior, but I'm still not 65. So, malayo yung agwat namin.
Pero you've always been the lawyer of, we heard that you've always been the lawyer of
Among the
FPRD.
lawyers,
One of the lawyers of
Mayor Rudy, he always wanted to be called Mayor Rudy. And even when he was
Even when he was
president, he would always want to be called Mayor.
Oo.
In his words, kinikilabutan siya pag tinatawag siyang presidente.
Presidente.
You'd say that.
But going back to your question, actually, the first time I met him was shortly after he passed the bar.
Ganun din
You
matagal.
passed the bar, sir.
You or
because,
him?
Him. He passed the bar. I was still in high school then. And he joined the law office of my father, my late father. So that's when I met him. I was still in high school.
Okay.
When
So yung
he
father
already
niyo po pala yung colleague niya.
Opo.
So, how did he know your father?
Yeah.
Actually, it was through Nanay Suling, the mother of Mayor Rudy. When Mayor Rudy passed the bar and Nanay Suling talked to my father if Rudy can join him. He said he's most welcome to join the law office. So that's how the relationship started. It was actually through my father.
Nung mayor po ba siya, secretary, na-imagine
Ano
niyo
po,
ba?
Martin lang po.
Attorney Martin. Okay. O chairman, di ba? No, you were a chairman of the LTFRB during the
Opo.
time of Mayor Duterte, PRRD. Na-imagine niyo po ba na magiging presidente siya nung mayor pa lang siya?
Hindi po.
Never niyong napag-usapan?
Pati siya rin po siguro, hindi niya ma-imagine. And I like to look at it this way. When he was mayor, and he has been mayor for a long time, I like to say that he has never lost an election. No? And that's for the record. 9 years as mayor, and he reached the maximum term of 9 years. He ran for Congress and came back as mayor for 9 years. And then after that, I ran for the presidency. So, siyempre, matagal ka na sa politika. And this is me, just my 10 cents worth. Siguro, tinitingnan niya sa taas kung kaya niya. Pero from where he was, a city in Mindanao, and a political party that, that can only count a handful of members in Congress, both in the House and in the Senate, talagang imposible. Kahit na mangarap ka, imposible na yung pangarap mo mangyayari.
Pero kung ganun po, ano sa tingin niyo yung nag-convince sa kanya na may laban kaya pwede? If he never
I'd like to say
imagined
this,
it, or
ang
you,
tao.
among the closest. No?
Ang tao po. Kasi nakikinig siya sa tao. And he's always been saying na, hindi ko kaya yan.
Bihira na lang tayo makakita ng isang presidente na mahilig makinig sa taong bayan.
Pero at the end, yung tao. And when I say yung paghahalubilo sa tao, I'm not talking about crowd. I'm even talking about individual encounters. I like to give you one particular encounter. In a hotel in Davao, and there was, maugong na yung pagpapatakbo niya, and he keeps on saying no. He has been saying no on
every time it was
people
mentioned,
asking him to
diba?
run for president. And there was this particular encounter of an old woman who came to him, almost knelt, begging for him to run. Bakit? Kasi meron siyang relative, I think, apo or anak, who was into drugs. Na talagang, it's something personal. So, all those encounters kind of make up the whole narrative of why, at the end of the day, despite having to say no, he said yes.
Were you with him when he won? When he heard the news about winning? And what did he do
I was
first?
actually part of the legal team
So, yes.
of the former president. The part
election
of the
team,
legal
yes.
team in the canvassing. So I'm one of the election lawyers of the former president. So we knew then, kasi automated election yan, 2016. Towards midnight, alam na namin na mukhang siya na. Kasi malayo na talaga yung agwat sa second placer. And siguro pati siya, it dawned on him na siya na nga. Na early the next morning, and I think a few people have seen this, na pumunta siya sa puntod ng kanyang ina at sa kanyang ama at humingi ng tulong. Ma, tabangi ko. Ma, tabangi ko. Mama, help me. Tulungan mo ako. So ganun po yung emosyon na tumatakbo sa loob niya. During the several hours after the election the voting centers closed, canvassing began, and then towards late evening, mukhang nakikita na siya na nga.
Siguro yung tumatakbo sa isip niya, totoo na to, no? And he seemed to be not as prepared, no? Na he will be the president, and that's why yung first thought niya is to ask for help, no? Medyo very uncertain yung mga
Very
Not too
emotional
significant
yun
is he was asking from his parents, who's no longer with him, pero still asking for guidance.
Yeah.
He mentioned that before, in relation to his father, that he felt that he was a disappointment to his father. Did he say this? Do you know the kwento behind this?
I have not heard that that part of the kwento. Although alam naman din natin na matagal siya nagtapos sa high school. So I'm sure to any parents it would be quite a disappointment na matagal nagtapos sa high school at but nevertheless nagtagumpay. Hindi para sa sarili, hindi para sa tao.
Para sa bayan. Kayo po is, you've been in the private sector, no? As a
Opo,
lawyer.
since I left government in 2022. Or even before I joined Mayor Rudy in 2016. I have been in the practice of law since I passed the bar in 1988 until 2016.
Buti po na-convince kayo ni Mayor na maging LTFRB chairman. Medyo at that time, medyo complicated rin yung posisyon nyo na yun, di ba?
First of all, I did not ask for that position or any position in government. I got that call. I can still recall 12:30 of May 30, 2016. At sinabi sa LTFRB, ako. Alam mo, at that time, with so much public expectation on his presidency, garnering the highest number of votes for president, you can do no less but accept the invitation and take part in nation building at saka yung pagbabago na expected by a lot of people.
Naging very strict po kayo when you were the chair of LTFRB sa mga colorum, di ba?
Good that you mentioned that, really. I like to put that in context insofar as Mayor Rudy is concerned. The day after, I got that call, and I'm sure a lot of people also got that call. We gathered in what we call Panakanyang, and there's a place there in Davao City where presidential events normally are held, or meetings. Even dates back to GMA. So at that time, at the meeting, there was a lull in the meeting, and he sat beside me, and he said, "Bay, kurap yang ahensya mo. 2 Cs, colorum at corruption." So those were the marching orders. So talagang, so when I came into the LTFRB, and I did not realize what I was getting into, the kind of institution or the government agency that I was getting into, was among the most corrupt in government. So when I was asked by media early on, corrupt ba yung ahensya mo? Perhaps any head of agency would probably try to sugarcoat or try to temper down the perception or reputation of the agency. Sabi ko, corrupt. Siyempre, nagulat yung nagtanong. Sabi ko, this is how we look at it. We need to recognize that there's a problem. If
before
you don't
can solve
recognize that
it.
there's a problem, you'll never be able to solve that problem.
Tama.
And that problem,
Yan ang isa sa mga problema ni BBM eh. Alam niya na merong problema. No? Alam niya na ang tao nagrereklamo na ganito, ganyan, ang problema, ganun, ganyan. Eh, yan nga, sabi ni Manang Aimee, hindi sila nakikinig. Alam niyo ba kung bakit? Kasi wala silang malasakit eh. Sarili lang nila yung inaatupag nila. Sarili lang nila ang kung paano nila hut-hutan ang gobyerno. Kaya nga, anong sabi ni Zaldico? 'Di ba? 100 billion per year. Di umano, ang sabi ni Zaldico na dapat ma-deliver kay BBM. So yun ang importante para sa kanila. Hindi po importante sa kanila kung ano yung mga hinanaing ng taong bayan. O yung PhilHealth. Alam niyo ba kung yung nangyari sa PhilHealth? Dapat na instead na yung pera na yun ay para yun sa ating lahat, no? Na magkakasakit, na dapat sana libre na tayo sa panghospital natin, 'di ba? Dapat doon na lang sa kasi mahirap magkasakit ngayon eh. Mahal magkasakit ngayon. Pero sila, wala silang pakialam. Kinuha nila yung budget sa PhilHealth. Halos 60 to 80 billion yung kinuha nila. Ganyan sila, wala silang pakialam sa atin. Kasi sila may pera sila. Sila, hindi nila problemang magkasakit kasi may pera sila. May panggamot sila. They can have all the best doctors in the world because they have money. Pero how about us, Pilipino? Kung magkasakit ka ngayon, patay ka. They